launch angle. Probably something you don't think about a lot with a putter. When we're hitting drives, when we're hitting irons, we like to see on TrackMan, nice low launch angle with our drivers, high launch angle, a lot of spin with our irons. Something we don't think about a lot with the putter. Today we're going to talk about that.
Hey everyone, my name is Ian Mackenzie Olson. I'm a teaching pro here at Swing Lab Performance Golf in Lakeville, Minnesota, joined by Thomas Schultheis, also a teaching pro here. In this video, we're going to talk about launch angles on your putter and 3 things that can affect it. The first thing, ball position. Second thing, your forward press. And third thing, the loft on the putter. All right, Thomas, why don't you tell us a little bit about what kind of like the ideal launch angle is with a putter?
Yeah, so what we're looking for, especially when we're using our Quintic system, something in the range of about 0.7 degrees to 2 degrees. We want to see the putter or the ball coming off the putter, not too low where it's getting hit into the ground, but not too high where it's going to start bouncing right away. So that 0.7 to 2 degrees really gets the ball rolling nicely.
Okay. So, someone comes in for a lesson, you notice maybe the ball's bouncing a lot right after they hit it. Maybe you take a look at their launch angle. It's pretty significantly out of the range. What's kind of like the first thing that you look at trying to evaluate their putting stroke, see what the issue is?
Yeah, for bounce, when you see bounce a lot, it's usually a matter of the person hitting down on the ball. We like to see catching the ball on the upswing, obviously. And so when we see bounce right away, that's a clear indication that the putter's making contact with the ball on the downswing. And something we can kind of do, a quick fix for that, is just moving the ball about 1 ball width forward. For every ball width you move it forward, you're going to increase by about 1 degree. So if we're finding someone really hitting it into the ground, 1 or 2 ball widths up gets us hitting up on the ball, increasing that launch if that's what we're going for, and kind of smooths out the roll. All right, so you kind of talked about forward press, and you watch a lot of golf, you kind of hear people talking about getting your hands forward. Can you tell us what that means and kind of what that does, how that affects the ball roll? Yeah,
so I think most golfers have a little bit of forward press on their putting stroke, and that's exactly why putters have loft on them, right? You see a lot of putters 3-4 degrees of loft on them because people like to have a forward press. Now, they kind of go hand in hand, forward press and putter loft. If you like to have a lot of forward press, you're going to need more loft on your putter so you're not driving the golf ball into the ground. Okay. If you don't like to have a lot of forward press, you kind of like your hands in a pretty neutral position, then you have to have less loft on your putter, or you're going to be hitting it up in the air, bouncing. Spin just kind of gets a little messed up at that point. So yeah, like I said, they kind of go hand in hand. That's why it's kind of really important to make sure you have a putter that's fit for you. If you, like we talked about, if you see that your ball's bouncing off the face, or you may be skidding a little bit and it's kind of spinning almost, you can see that. Yeah, you probably don't have the right setup, and you maybe need to get your putting stroke looked at as well as your putter looked at. Here at Swing Lab Performance Golf, we have the capabilities of, bending your putter if you need more loft. We also have putters here that, you can try out in one of our fittings, and we can fit you up for a putter that fits your putting stroke, fits your forward press, and, like you talked about with ball position, we offer putting lessons, right? So you can change up someone's ball position if you think that is affecting their putting.
All right, so the first thing that we mentioned, different ways you can control loft on the putter and the way the ball comes off. The first being ball position. So Ian's going to hit a couple putts with his normal ball position, probably more towards center for you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to hit a few putts, center, standard ball position, and we'll check Quintic and see what the launch angle looks like. All right, so we've got Ian's numbers up here. What we saw, great launch angle, right within the parameters that we're looking for, that 0.7 to 2 degrees, almost dead in the center of that. So normally in a lesson, we'd be happy with that. We'd continue to work on other things, but just for the sake of what we're talking about in ball position, let's go ahead and move that ball about 1 ball width forward in your stance.
Okay.
And not changing the stroke or anything, just using that ball position, giving that club a little bit more time on the upswing, and we'll see how that affects the launch angle on this one. All right, so we moved the ball up about 1 ball width forward. We were saying that should affect it about a degree. And being the caliber golfer you are, you put the same stroke on it. We saw the launch angle go from about 1.3 to 2.2. That takes us out of the range that we want, but for the purpose of the drill, it did exactly what we were looking for. So for you guys watching, if you need a little bit more loft coming off the putter, a ball position forward, about 1 ball width, will get you another degree usually.
All right, so we talked about ball position. We kind of showed what you were talking about, right? We moved the ball a little bit further forward, and that definitely affected my launch angle. Now, let's move into forward press / kind of loft on the putter. Why don't you hit kind of your stock putt, and I'll take a look at your forward press, and we'll check out your launch angle. All right, Thomas, launch angle on that one, 1.99. On the upper end of our range, but it's in the green. That's a good launch angle. I noticed that you don't forward press too much. You kind of have a neutral hand position.
Yeah.
But obviously the putter you're using, I think 3 degrees of loft on that putter about, is that right?
Yep.
So obviously that's a pretty good match. Why don't we hit one, maybe press your hands a little bit further forward, just where it's a little bit more uncomfortable, and we'll see kind of what that does to the launch angle.
Okay.
All right, so you forward press kind of a lot, kind of a big difference from what you're used to.
Right.
Now we're seeing, almost a -2 degree launch angle, so you're actually hitting that one into the ground. So for someone who came in with a launch angle like that, there's kind of 2 options to that. Maybe we put their hands back in more of a neutral position, right? So where you started, obviously your launch angle was in the green. So you put them back into a more neutral position, or we can change the putter. Different putters can have different lofts on them. So maybe that means you need to try out a few different putters, or maybe it just means we need to bend your putter a little bit, add a little bit more loft on it.
Right.
We add a little bit more loft on that if you are comfortable with your hands that far forward, and put your launch angle in the green. All right, guys, we kind of touched on the 3 things that we think are really important in terms of launch angle with your putter. We kind of showed the difference that ball position, hand position, and putter loft, and how important they are on how you're launching the golf ball.
Yeah, and I think it was important to see the true numbers, just a little fix, and you're seeing degrees change pretty quickly. So if you're someone that finds yourself struggling with any of the things we worked on, or you're just curious to know more about them, come on into Swing Lab. We've got lessons available and fittings available. Sometimes we need a new putter, sometimes we need a new technique, but we'll take care of you either way here.